Hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC, and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. Also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you would like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it get put together live, send me a message today. Alrighty, so we've got a PC that's come across my desk here tonight, and it needs a little bit of TLC. So the customer's bought it to me. He says it's overheating and stuff. There's only a hard drive in there, so no SSD. So he said that the operating system's on the hard drive, so we might try and clone that onto an SSD. And we'll just... Yeah, I don't think the cooler's on there properly. Yeah, we'll definitely have a look at all that. So fundamentally, I mean, I think he's got like a 3070 or something like that in here. It's like it's not too old a computer. It looks like it's a tough gaming board. It's one of the more decent tough gaming boards. It's got Wi-Fi. Is it a Z590? Just trying to see. Yeah. Hey Tim, how you going? Yeah, good, thanks.
Happy Friday.
So, look, I don't know why that's plugged in, but let's strip off these panels and let's have a bit of a look. I don't think the cable management's the best. Maybe we can tidy some of that up. That back panel just like popped off. Cable management's alright at the back. It's just a little bit dicey at the front. Well, that's fine at the back. As I say, it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be freaking a work of art at the back. Okay, what have we got? So we got a tough gaming. Oh god. Is that? Oh geez. There is a piece of sticky on the back plate of the graphics card.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah, that's a big no-no, because that back plate is designed to be air-cooled, and you basically got a cover over it.
To protect it.
It's not there. It says, it even says on this, please remove protective film before use. It's got it in really tiny writing there. So we will definitely get rid of that. At least it looks like I've polished the graphics card now. So how good's that? Yeah.
Uncle Mick says hi, lovies.
Hey Mick, how you going? Good to have you here on a Friday night. Hopefully you're enjoying a cold beverage after a decently long week at work.
Andrew says this sends a hard face.
Who said
Can you see it?
sends a ha-ha face? Well, ha-ha to you too. What the fuck have we got there? Oh god!
What?
Oh my god! That! Who the fuck built this?
What?
We have a floppy power cable plugged into a fan header.
Huh?
This freaking Molex to floppy adapter is plugged into a fucking fan header.
What the fuck?
What the fuck's going on there? Jesus fucking Christ, you don't need a fucking Molex to... I don't know what that's meant to be powering. The thing it was plugged into, the header it plugs into is a header that has power. So that's a power cable to get power to it. Oh jeez. I'm feeling a little bit worried now. What else are we gonna find? Like a little bit of cable mess down there. Like there's no RGB in it. Doesn't really matter.
Tim?
Yeah.
Andrew says not the oh my god no
Oh man, what the fuck? Oh, we're missing screws and offsets. Holy shit, guys. Yeah.
Patrick says, Tim, I did this in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Oh.
The librarian told me to take it out.
Oh. Well, look, this.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
This PC realistically needs a bit of TLC. There are a couple of RGB strips in it. There's at least one I can see. But yes, I think we're gonna have to realistically, like, pretty much pull this apart and just get it up to spec. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like the motherboard not having the offsets in all down the right hand side, so whenever you press on that, like, I mean, it's fine from a, you know, necessity point of view, I guess you could say, but it's not really fine. It's sort of, you've got 2/3 of the bolts in there and there's no more bolts. Yeah. Man, seriously, like that Molex floppy adapter plugged into the fan header, like, oh geez, like that doesn't sound like something that, you know, it doesn't sound like the sort of thing that leaves the motherboard in a non-on fire state. Just off the top of my head there. Hey, how you going, man? Good to have you with us.
Don't drive angry, Tim.
Don't drive angry.
Angry Tim while driving is scary.
You don't want to see me angry.
Want that.
You don't want to see me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. No, we've all got our shit in life.
Is to make it right.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Okay. See, now I've got to remember where I've put all my shit. Okay. Down here. So, in this box we find lots of case accessories. All sorts of random shit. Backplates for coolers. So we got a spare backplate. There was a missing blanking panel there, so we'll put that one in for sure. But the main thing I'm looking for in here is a graphics card pin protector. So we don't want to remove the graphics card and not have a pin protector on it. Alrighty. Sweet as. So we'll just leave that down there. Okay. Get some of these cables out of the way here, because we're gonna have to. We actually have to take the motherboard out to fix this one. So a little bit of a pain in the ass, but hey, it's Friday night, and you know, I'm a loser. I don't have anything better to do on Friday night, so that's why I'm here fixing this PC in front of a camera. Okay, well, look, at least when the customer gets this PC back, it's going to look a lot neater, and it won't be overheating. Yeah, check this out. The Intel cooler. Can you see that? It's not even mounted to the CPU properly. Only 2 of the legs are connected, so it's no wonder that the CPU was overheating.
Tim,
Yeah.
you constantly, did the fucking thing work, mate, or did the board earth out on the case?
Oh, mate, who knows? Who knows at this stage? I haven't even turned it on because all I saw from looking at it when I had a quick look over it with the customer, like at the door, basically, the first thing I noticed was that the CPU cooler wasn't properly attached, and I can tell you right now, just from looking at it, that's not the stock thermal paste. So this cooler's been like recycled and repasted. Yeah.
Tyrone says, I know that PC. And he says, I'm going to tell my cousin he fucked up putting that back on.
Alrighty, now we'll just go through. I'll just go through everything nice and thorough and just make sure everything's all sweet, and then we'll go from there. So I'm just going to wipe off this existing thermal on the CPU there, just with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. And that reveals that we have an i7-10700F. So that's fine. That's the borderline of what this CPU cooler can handle. So I wouldn't probably recommend using one of these coolers on a 10700F if you were like doing video editing or something like that. But for gaming, yeah, it's okay. All right. So we've just got stuff here on the bottom, SATA cable for the hard drive, front panel connectors, and that's pretty much it. That fan's okay. Deal with the cable. Alright, so now's the real fun part, right? Because now I've got to undo the mother bolt. Got to undo the mother bolt. I wish it was that easy, just like one bolt, you know, that'd be sweet. But no, I've got to undo all of them. Like I'm so not confident here. I feel like I'm gonna come to a bolt here that's had a bigger size screw jammed into a smaller offset, and we're gonna have to get real fancy to put this back together. Hopefully not, but yeah, I've seen some things, man, and some stuff already, and it's not filling me with complete confidence. And I'm not trying to like. Let me get this straight. I don't want people to take what I'm saying the wrong way. I'm not criticizing personally the person who put this together. I'm just making observations about like what wasn't done. Like, I mean, the PC worked, and everyone's sort of there's no law saying that, you know, only certain people can build a PC. So yeah, here we go. Here's a case for a bolt that's not right for the offset. That looks like it's got, oh jeez. If we got different size offsets in here, that can happen sometimes. So if that happens, we need two different sorts of bolts to bolt the board down. And we did get this one. And see, the thing about the offsets here, right, is that the case probably only came with those 6 installed. So if someone is an amateur builder, they might not realize that they need them. They might be like, oh, but the case doesn't have them, so I don't need them. And that's a realistic fucking perspective to have, right? Oh, where'd that glass bolt go? Oh, we'll find out. Okay. Oh, one's still connected. And we'll use this MSI box that's full of display cables to put our board down on for a second. So, we are going to need our offset tool. And a couple of offsets, 3 in total. Oh no.
What?
There was an offset just pressing on the back of the motherboard. It was in one of the micro ATX positions. So very, very lucky there that didn't just short the motherboard out straight away. So it obviously got lucky and wasn't touching anything too vital. But yeah, not good. Not good seeing that. But guess I get to save one offset. So I think I saved about 1/10 of a cent or something there. So that's a little bit of a win for me, I guess. Okay. Well, that's not fully down. There we go. Okay, so now we've got our 9 installed. I will just repaste this. Alrighty, so we want to make sure that our cooler is in the right position. So we need to have all of the arrows facing out, and we need to make sure that the clips are pulled all the way into the up position. Alrighty, so it's like that, and you can tell because the little black pins that go through the white clips there will be pulled all the way back. And so once you got it like that, it's really easy to install these Intel stock coolers. They just go down like that, clip. You can always hear this high-pitched click noise as they go into place. And we can plug it in just like that. There we go, just like that. So just using the length of that cable, running it up the empty RAM slot there, that's no problem. Nothing can make contact. And plugged in nice and discreetly there. And we won't be plugging back that that freaking floppy cable. I know it's got 4 pins. But like, didn't you notice that like the holes are square and like these are little tiny pins and they're like slightly bigger pins? I don't know. I'm probably overthinking it. People don't think that much. Okay, so this fan here just had a cable tied up. I think what we'll do with that is... Oh, there's that bolt that went missing before. I think we'll run it up the top here. At the back the same way as the CPU cable comes in. And I should have enough room there just to stick that up behind the motherboard. Sweet as, that's our back fan plugged in nice and discreetly. And what do we got here? We got one of those Cooler Master controllers here for our, what have we got? 4-pin. Let's just hook, why don't we just hook our RGB up via the motherboard so we don't have to actually fuck around and open up the case and use this like controller. Because this board has 4-pin and 3-pin RGB, so 12 volt and 5 volt. So you don't need to use the controller that's included with your RGB devices if you have those headers on the motherboard. So that's the trick there. Okay, definitely way more. I'm like looking at this going, oh shit, is this going to be really enough content to do a video tonight? Like, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, definitely, there's definitely enough content here to do a video. That's not a problem at all. Okay, so have we got, oh yeah, we got 2 lots of cables there, one down the bottom and one up the top. Okay, two separate 12 volters. We got 2 separate 12 volters. One on the bottom, one at the top. We are going to need
Oh, Jesus Christ, stupid thing.
Okay, I should have... No, not in here. This is looking a bit warmer, I think. Yes. Yes, yes. Alright. So as an alternative, we're gonna use these 2 extension cables, and that will mean that we can completely get rid of this cheap $10 RGB controller. Yeah.
I'm cool, Leo was going to build me a Hackintosh.
Build you a Hackintosh, yeah. No worries.
Actually, wants to know, have you seen the new beast of an RTX 3090 Ti?
Yeah, the 3090 Ti.
The 3090,
It does outdo the 3090, and it's you know, Jesus. I've got a 3080, and I think that's just like ridiculous. I think my words is it just makes a mockery of everything. It does. All right. Yeah. Oh, true. So Tyrone. Okay, so Tyrone's actually watching live now. Yeah, sweet. I sent him a message, and I wasn't sure if he'd seen it or not. All right, let's tidy up. Let's tidy up these cables down here a bit. We've got some cables crossed. You might hear me often say, "Oh, don't get your cables crossed." Like I'll say that to myself as a little thing. Okay. Yeah, I know, right? I know. Should put on the old rave pants and stuff and jump around like it's 2006.
I'm the only one in this house.
I know. I'm totally.
I've got some fluffies you can wear.
Some fluffies, yeah, that'll be cool. Okay. Alrighty, so with 12 volt RGB, you got 4 pins, so it's symmetrical. So they put 2 little arrows on there. Just make sure those arrows are lined up correctly. Alright, so we'll chuck that RGB strip down there with an extender. So yeah, don't hang shit on your cousin about the RGB, man. Like he probably didn't have extenders and stuff. I've just got like a box of shit lying around that, you know, I can use for this sort of stuff. But yeah. Well, it's all up to you how much storage space you want. I mean, I got heaps like sort of around the 500 gigabyte mark. That's a really common sort of number. Okay, so we got a male to male 12 volt cable. That doesn't really get us too far in the grand scheme of things.
Maybe it can.
And maybe it can, but
It's gonna.
But yeah, well, it's not in this PC. This PCs and electronics, they've got very old school types of sensibilities. All right, very very old school there. Okay, let's chuck this in while it's there. Oh, that one doesn't look like it fits nicely in this case.
Wow.
There we go. That fits well. Alrighty, that'll look a bit cleaner on the back there. It's relatively the same pattern. These strips sometimes be a real pain in the ass. There we go. Let's get that magnet lined up. Alright. So got all of our offsets in place. We got rid of that offset that was sticking to the back of the board there. We've taken out the RGB controller, and we're going to address the strips with the headers on the motherboard, so that'll make life a little bit easier. Depending what Tyrone wants to do, whether like if you want to, I've only got 500 gigabyte SSDs on me right now. I could definitely pick other ones up for you tomorrow if you want more than that.
And Tyrone says he's absolving himself of all the blame and passing it on to his mate that took the main building. If you've got a 2 terabyte, that would be awesome.
A 2 terabyte SSD. Yeah, I can get one. So let's just tonight, we won't worry about cloning. Cloning the hard drive can be a bit of a pain because hard drive's a little bit slow, so the cloning process can sometimes take over an hour. So it might that actually might be better, because no one really wants to see a Cronus sit there and slowly clone a drive, because it's a very boring sort of process, right? All right. So yeah, once you got your cooler mounted properly, it's a good place to pick up your motherboard from. Hang on, what's going on here? That's pretty good. Oh, it's not that bad. Jesus, that's really tight there for these cables, isn't it? Alright, let's just plug in that rear fan next to the CPU there. Yep, that's right. Sweet as. Let's chuck some bolts back in here. Okay. Alrighty. I'll tell you a funny story, right? A guy I know, one of the places I buy from, he told me an interesting story. He had a guy bring him a 3D printer, right? And the dude's like, "Oh, it doesn't work anymore, I don't want it, you can have it." And he's like, "You sure you don't want to try, like, get it fixed and stuff? Like, it's a $600 3D printer, blah, 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 blah. It's like, you know, it's decent." This dude's like, nah, can't be fucked, just gonna get a new one, blah, 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 blah. And my mate's like, okay. And so it just had this piece of plastic around where, like, I don't know what you call it, but where the actual 3D printing occurs. There's like a cap that sort of holds part of the printing mechanism together. And so he was like, okay, what can I do? Maybe I can 3D print a new cap, and maybe the 3D printer can fix itself. So he got some tape and sort of taped up the lid, held it together while it printed, partially with his fingers. And yeah, he managed to print himself off another plate, installed the plate. Now it works with the 3D printed plate. So we've got the case of the 3D printer that fixed itself. Pretty fucking cool, I reckon. I mean, how often do you end up with a situation where technology fixes itself? That's pretty rare, right? Alright, so let's make sure we put this on the right way. So it's one of our RGB strips there, and then we've got another one down here, and that can just come over here. Which way are we? Yep, like that. There we go, sweet as. Alright, so we got those two. We may as well plug in all this stuff down the bottom now. Alright, so front panel connectors. What have we got? Reset switch. We got all 4. These can be like one of the most fiddly parts of building your PC is plugging in these little cables here. That's something a lot of people sort of fuck up on. Small writing and stuff, right? Okay, so we got a USB 2. At least that was, I think that was definitely plugged into the right port there. It wasn't plugged into the COM port by mistake. It'll fit in the COM port. That's the concerning thing when it comes to builds like this. If someone's not like really familiar with what they're looking at. Some people are just like, oh yeah, as long as it fits, it's fine. But as you can see, yeah, that floppy cable was not meant to be plugged in where I found it. It was plugged in, it was that 4-pin floppy header that has power coming out of it, and so does the other port that it was going into. The thing is that they're both 12 volt ports, so it was probably okay. Alright, USB 3, where's that guy? That is up here. Sweet. Power's right at the top, wasn't it? Oh, well, it can come down from the top anyway. Use a bit more cable length. So we don't have much cable management room out back, that's the thing. So we might have to tie a fair bit down in this case. Yeah, that'll be good like that. Looks pretty cool. Graphics card, CPU. Okay, that's looking good. Let's just plug in power to our hard drive there, and we'll plug in the SATA cable. Can probably going down the bottom. Already got a fair bit of cables coming through down here. Might be easier. Okay. Alrighty, so we're all hooked up and ready to go. Hey Tyrone, if there's a password on here or a pin or something like that, send me a text. And we'll have a look and see how it's running. I'd say your graphics card's probably going to run a bit cooler because it had that bit of film on the back plate still, and that's, yeah, like it's not there. It's not there for like, it's not there to keep it nice. meant to be removed, but it's not always obvious. Oh, this is a fucking weird. There we go. That's a very weird mechanism on that piece there. Sweet as. And then for our graphics card, we'll probably come in from. Oh. Alrighty. Sweet as. Alright, let's fire it up. Let's make sure all the overhead and stuff like that has been addressed. I'm pretty sure we've definitely worked out all that. Okay. Okay, it looks like we're in. Let me just share the screen because of course my work experience volunteer. Oh fuck, I can't see through that light. Okay. Oh, good old hard drives, eh? So if anyone's wondering why it's a bit slow, that's just the hard drive. It's doing its thing. Okay. Because I don't have a spare Ethernet cable right now, I'm gonna go and screw in my Wi-Fi antenna. Yep, it's alive. Alright, we'll give it some internet. And now let's see if it overheats. Yeah.
Be happy for you to juice up the RAM and beef it up a little with anything else that you think will help it run better for the future.
Yeah, yep.
Because apparently this is beginnings of Skynet.
Ha!
He says mispricing it. Having a M2 is so mad when you
Yeah.
love.
Alright. So, let's have a look. So there's a couple of apps I want here. Yeah, and so if anyone's wondering, this is slow because of the hard drive. It's not because of it's not because this is a shit computer or anything like that. It's got an i7 10700F, so that's still a relatively modern chip. Okay. Crystal disk info. Okay. These are all really, really little apps, but they tell you a lot of things that you want to know. Alrighty, so got a 2 terabyte hard drive. It's 7200 RPM, so it's a faster one, which is good. No issues logged at all. All of the raw values there. Sorry, I don't know if you can see all that. All of the raw values there are saying 0, where I like to see them saying 0. High flow writes. This is an important one. Reallocated sectors count. It reallocates when there's literally like part of the drive it can't use anymore. So you see that, that's a big problem. Storage drive, okay. So our motherboard, yeah, I've got a Tough Gaming Z490. And we got, looks like 2 times 16 gigabytes. Yep, I know, 2 times 8 gigabytes. 16 total. And RTX 3060 there. Sweet as. And so our temps there, temps are looking good. So let's give it a bit of a push. And it should just heat up for a little bit and then it will drop back down as the CPU goes down to clock speed, and there we go, 60s. That's what we want. So that's beautiful. That's not going to overheat for us anymore. Everything else there's pretty good. Sweet as. Now to control our RGB, do we have We don't have Asus Armory Crate. Let's go ahead and put Armory Crate on, so we've got the access to Aura Sync to control our RGB lighting, and also keep all of our motherboard and chipset drivers. We won't restore those pages. I don't want to know what Tyrone's been looking at on the internet. Alrighty. Yeah, so let's get this going on, because this will make sure we've got all of the latest motherboard, chipset, and other drivers installed, and we'll be able to control all of our lighting with the motherboard.
Thankfully, nothing too dangerous.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Okay, so we'll get that going on. Microsoft Store looks like it's updated. Windows Update General. H2. Other device updates. This PC doesn't meet the minimum requirements for Windows 11. Oh, let's fix that. I think we can fix that. I think this is the plus Wi-Fi, it looks like. I'll tell you in a second. Twin 5. Yep, sweet. That's the one. So let's go to support, and what we'll do is we'll flash a new BIOS onto it, and we'll make sure that it's all ready for Windows 11. So flashing the BIOS is a risky thing. You shouldn't do it. So when was that? Oh, that was this year. When did they add the Windows 11 support? Oh no, hang on, there we go. 2420 added support for Windows 11 by default. So that means if we go version 2602, we'll also have that update there. Alrighty, so flash our BIOS. We got to extract our BIOS. And we need to put it on our SSD, and sometimes it has a bit of a SPAC when it's not in the root directory, so I'm also going to copy it over here, so the raw BIOS file is also in the root directory, because I've got other tough gaming BIOSes there. I don't have Z490. So let's leave it like that. Windows is still doing a few updates and stuff. Oh, I thought I saw something weird in here. This PC Yeah, okay, so C drive, D drive. There's only one drive, so we've got two different partitions. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. Whenever the computer management terminal wants to open up for me. Here we go. Disk management. Alrighty, so as you can see here, we've got local disk and local disk D. Over here on our 2 terabyte hard drive, we can see that we've got the C and the D drive on that one drive there. So, bit of a mess. So, this will all have... Oh no, this doesn't have much installed on it at all. Couple of 100 gigabytes. So what we'll probably do is we'll probably clone the drive, and then I'm going to use some trippy software where I'm going to delete this D partition, and I'm going to extend the C partition in its place, and then we'll just have one drive there. It's nice and simple. You don't have to worry about it. It gets a bit mindfucky when you've got like single drives with multiple partitions. It's showing up as multiple drives in Windows, and then you've only got the one drive in the computer. It's also complicated when it comes to managing your data. You think, oh yeah, everything's on C drive, I'll reinstall Windows, and then you find out that Windows is like completely deleted everything off C drive. Off your hard drive. All partitions got wiped, etc. So, yeah, we'll put that back to a more standard configuration there. Armory Crate's still doing its thing. Windows Update's still doing its thing. I think everything else is pretty good. Yep, GeForce Experience is installed. Sweet as. You got an Nvidia driver update. I'll just download that because we're waiting for other stuff to happen. Alright, so we'll get that new BIOS. It's all sorted. If Armory Crate doesn't want to play with us, then we can do that later. How's Windows Update going? Can give you a Windows license if you need it as well. It's no problem. Yeah, we're definitely bottlenecked here by that hard drive pegged at 100%. The CPU's not doing anything. Yeah.
Conrad says, I think my cousin's mate partitioned it and said something about Windows.
Yeah, I mean you can sort of set that up like that if you want, but it just gets a bit messy. Certainly when you have a lot of drives in there, and it's like, oh shit, which one's which? It's easy to make mistakes, and those easy to make mistakes can be pretty costly. What the fuck? Blue screen error detected. I don't see any blue screens. So this app will just confirm that we're Windows 11 ready after we do our BIOS update. Jeez, look how slow that's going. Look at that.
That's a bit shit.
That's like dial-up speeds, man.
What's up with that?
I think it's the hard drive bottlenecking the downloading because it doesn't have the capacity to write the new data. not gonna fucking work for us at the moment. Alright, I'm just gonna restart it, because I want to get that BIOS update done. Make sure that's all sweet. And then, yeah, realistically all we need to do then is get a new 2TB SSD. And then, yeah, do the imaging from that drive onto the new SSD, erase the hard drive, or I might even be able to just extend that D drive partition for you with this wonderful app I have called Aomi Partition Assistant. Great software. Windows disk management utility is limited. Aomi Partition Assistant will let you do whatever you want to the drive. There's no like Windows safety guards in there to stop you from doing stuff. That's why I love it, because it makes my life so much easier, because it's like, come on Windows, I know what I'm doing. I know what partitions I'm deleting. I know what I want to do. Just let me do what I want to do. But no.
Ew. All I can smell is man perfume. I think somebody's going out. It's coming in from outside.
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, I can notice a bit of man fume myself.
It smells nice. Maybe you should buy that.
Just smells like Africa to me. Like Lynx Africa.
Yeah. Oh, now it's really filling the room. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. Some people need to learn how to use deodorant.
Alrighty, so I got an Asus BIOS here. So we use the Easy Flash utility. So I'm going to go into my SSD here. Yeah.
There's a chap on YouTube I watched called Tim says something about fire.
Yep.
Tim?
Yep.
Tyro says if it doesn't need a partition, definitely just kill it.
Yeah, no, I think we can actually Okay, what happened there? Did it say something about that Intel ME firmware update? Or am I just imagining it? I did get a weird message come up on the screen. I didn't fully read it because I'm complacent, right? Alrighty. I think I need a drink. Where's my cup? Well, we definitely found a few little things with this PC, didn't we? So I'll also put in two Asus M2 offsets. But we don't touch the computer while the BIOS update is occurring. What's up?
Well, one of the dudes I work with, he says, "Dear Will Smith, due to the overabundance of slap memes you've now given to the world, the Oscars is now being renamed Slapsgiving."
Oh. Yeah, you know what's fucked about that whole Will Smith, Chris Rock thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, let me put it to you like this, okay? If that wasn't Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, the reaction from the world would be totally different, okay?
Yeah, if it was, say, I don't know, Kanye West.
No, not even that. Not even that.
No?
So let's take Will Smith and Chris Rock out of it. Okay, let's just look at it as two African American males. Let's take them out of the Oscars and let's put them on the streets of LA or somewhere. Now you have a totally different situation. The media and society will respond to it totally different. The way you see it now with those two black males on the street, you've got two quote-unquote thugs fighting. And they're both hated on and, you know, no one's sticking up for them. But the fact that it's Will Smith and these are like famous people at a big event, they don't cop the same criticism. Will Smith gets cut a lot of slack because he's Will Smith. But if he was another African American male, there would be no slack cut at all.
No,
it'd be like, you're going to jail for 2 years for that. That would be the response.
Asked to leave the venue
Yep.
afterwards.
Asked to leave the venue and refused to leave the venue. Can you imagine if just your average African American male refused to leave a venue when they were asked? What would happen? Like, serious, man. That's just not. It's not right, eh? It's not right.
Anyway.
Rant over. But I'm pretty sure most people are fucking sort of thinking like that and going, yeah, it's fucking a bit on the nose.
Fiona says, come on, Tim, it's Friday night, get yourself a whiskey. And Tyrone says, have you seen Jim Carrey talk about it? His perspective or his reflection?
No, I haven't heard Jim Carrey on it yet, but yeah, I'll definitely check that out.
Indeed.
Alright, this BIOS update's nearly done.
It's taking forever.
Yeah, it's I mean, we're going from version 1410 to version 2602. So there's probably been a few little updates and upgrades along the way there. And so yeah, this is a real risky thing to do, because if you lose power, you could brick your motherboard. And when I say brick, I mean like you won't be able to turn it on anymore or use it without taking off the little BIOS chip on the motherboard itself and actually re-flashing it manually, which is, yeah, it's not a recommended procedure. So basically, when I do it, I've got it plugged into the UPS. So if we were to lose power here, this PC would stay on, this screen would stay on, my PC would stay on, everything else would lose power, they'd lose internet connection, the streaming PC would go down. But oh, I just see that someone's photoshopped Ukrainian president as Will Smith and Vladimir Putin as Chris Rock in the iconic slap photo.
The slap heard around the world. Everyone wanted to see Zelensky slap Putin instead of Will Smith slapping Chris Rock at the Academy Awards Oscars. Hopefully Russia will withdraw from its invasion of Ukraine and the senseless loss of life. Stop.
Alrighty.
Indeed. Oh no, Tim.
Yeah.
Check it out. On the screen, it's me first and gimmies.
Oh, really?
Just to say this. If you've never heard of Me First and the Gimmies, you really need to look them up. They're so cool.
Alright, let's go back into BIOS. And all we really need to do here is turn on our XMP profile. Everything else is sweet. Save and exit. Done. And so yeah, anything we do tonight on this hard drive, any of these updates that we make, they'll just be copied onto the new SSD, so nothing will be lost or left behind. And yeah, I should be able to, with that fancy software I'm talking about, not even have to delete anything off it. I'll have to delete the D partition when I clone the drive off the SSD and extend the C partition. But on that, I can just delete the C partition and extend the D partition. So there is a technical solution, but like this isn't just like software that you can just download and buy for free, like use for free. They're either one-time purchases, like, you know, $100 plus, or it's a subscription service of, you know, however many dollars a month. And so it's fine if you're running a business to have various subscription services for pieces of software that you need. It's just a business expense then, it doesn't really matter. But when it's like coming out of your own pocket when you're working a job, yeah, that kind of sucks. Alrighty, so I'm going to put a couple of M2 offsets in here. Yeah. Yeah. The cat looks like it runs a whole city with an iron fist in the 1880s. Yeah, I can kind of see that.
1800s.
Oh, 1880s is in the 1800s. Alrighty, there we go. A couple of offsets installed in the board. Run DLL. There's a problem loading System32 Logi. What is that? Logi LGA Logitech. Okay, yeah. It's probably something to do with Logitech. Alright, Steam wants to do an update. Let's see if we can get Armory Crate on here before we finish up and call it quits for the night. Let's do our PC health check and make sure that we are now compatible with Windows 11. And there we go, our hard drive there at 100%, CPU, GPU, everything else not even really being utilized because it's just being held back by the hard drive. Oh, there's our PC health check app. And we are now compatible with Windows 11. Look at this. Windows 11's already having a throwing up a little caution arrow there, a little caution marker about the 2000 gigabyte hard drive. But we'll fix that. Windows don't have too much of a SPAC, all right. Oh man, I don't know if I could. I couldn't handle this. I couldn't handle running off a hard drive like this. Well, more cumulative updates for Windows there. That's probably what's slowing us down right now. Alrighty. Well, look, we're pretty much at the end of the night here in terms of like stuff that we can do. We've got the BIOS updated, we've fixed up the cabling and stuff inside the case, got those extra offsets installed, we've got the cooler mounted properly and repasted, we've got our RGB lights hooked up, but we didn't have... Yeah, it's still saying over here that Windows doesn't meet Windows 11 requirements, but that's bullshit. We've already sorted that. Well, I think I might just have to leave this one on for a little while and catch up on some updates. But yeah, at least our CPU's not overheating, and realistically, all we got to do is plug in an M2 drive with a cloned operating system on it, do a bit of partition magic with our drives, and this one will be all ready to go. I mean, in terms of memory and stuff, in terms of the upgrade, let me just have a quick look at what memory you have specifically in there. Okay, right. Okay, so you've only got the RAM that you've got in there is only 2666 megahertz. So that's like the standard sort of, well, it's not really the standard. It's the new standard speed of like DDR4 RAM. So the sweet spot for DDR4 in terms of like the speeds, the timings, and all that bullshit, right? Roughly the sweet spot is between 3200 CAS latency 16 or CL16 and 3600 CAS latency 18, with the peak performance being 3600 CL16. So you'll pay a lot more for 3600 CL16 than you will for 3600 CL18 or 3600 or 3200 CL16. 3200 CL16, 3600 CL18, more or less the same performance. Like the 3600's faster, but then it has higher latency. So that's how that works. Yeah, look at that. Like, we're totally not. It's got nothing to do. The reason why it's slow here is nothing to do with our CPU, our graphics card, or our memory. And it has everything to do with that hard drive just sitting there pegged at 100%. It's even slowing down our internet. that's how bad it is. So yeah, never run a hard drive for your operating system in 2022. It's just not adequate, and you'll end up like bottlenecking your whole system with it. It's okay to still use a hard drive, but just use it for like general storage or for like, you know, storing your games and stuff like that. Because the thing with storing games on a hard drive and stuff like that is once it loads, it's loaded. It's not running any slower because you loaded it off a hard drive. It'll just be like the hard drive will take like 20-30 seconds to load the game, whereas the SSD will load it in like 5 to 8 seconds. There'll be a sort of equation like that. So, you know, you'll be all sweet. You can just roll with the hard drive for games and stuff like that. That's not going to be a problem. Because once the game loads, it goes from the hard drive or the SSD, and then it goes to the memory. So that's why having good RAM and enough RAM is important, because if you go to open bigger files or more programs or more applications at the same time, every time you open them and they load up, it's loading from the storage devices to the system memory. So all these things play in. So I mean, we could probably do a memory upgrade. I could probably give you a trade-in for your existing memory modules off that. That wouldn't be a problem. I'd be happy to take them. Yeah, happy days. I mean, ideally, I'd put in, like I said, the three speeds of memory that I mentioned before, the 3 DDR4 sort of best case scenarios. That's what I'd look at. You can get some Corsair 3200 megahertz CL16. It's Vengeance RGB RAM, so it's got the RGB effect on the top there, and that they're 112 for a kit of 2. So 224 for 4 sticks of 8. So that's a pretty good idea. Yeah, obviously it depends on your budget and stuff like that. So like with RAM, like 16's like enough, but there's like a lot of games now that if you have 32, it will use like 18. It's like if it's got the 32 there, it's kind of just like, oh yeah, room to spread out and spread my legs kind of thing. Like that's the sort of way that it kind of goes between 16 and 32 these days. So no games really need all of the 32 gigabytes, but plenty of them need 16 to 20 to run optimally. And as updates keep rolling in, it gets a bit more intensive every time. Alright, let's see if we can get this going on. But yeah, I think I might wrap up the stream for tonight pretty soon, because we're sort of at the end of what we can do. We'll pick this up again tomorrow when we do the SSD swap. But yeah, you won't know yourself having an SSD in this. And yeah, i7 10700F. Completely fine with a 3060. Like, this poor guy. I feel really bad for him, because he bought a PC. He doesn't know a lot about PCs, but he bought a PC because he wants to like play games with his friends, right? Like so many people these days. But he bought a system that was like 10 years old, and then he bought a power supply and an RTX 3060 graphics card. He brings it to me. He's like, "Oh, can you install a new power supply and graphics card in my computer?" And I've gone, "Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Bring it in. I can sort that for you." And then I sort of took the case off him. I didn't really look too closely at it. But then when I actually looked at it, I'm like, oh shit. that motherboard and CPU and RAM is so old. There's a full generation between the PCIe interface on the board and the PCIe generation on the card. So there's no way that old motherboard is going to know how to talk to that new Gen 4 graphics card. So anyway, I told him, yeah, look, I can put the power supply in for you, but the graphics card won't work, so I got the hiccups now.
Check out this Benson. I can't believe.
So yeah, anyway, so he goes and gets a new motherboard and CPU. So I said to him, I'm like, man, just get yourself an i5 11400F and just any motherboard that's LGA 1200 and some DDR4 memory, and you'll be good to go. Bring me the new parts, and I'll put it in for you and get it all set up for you. Anyway, then he brings me in. He went online and he heard online somewhere that apparently i5 11400F is bad. So he then went and bought an 11700K, which a K series Intel chip is one of their like top performing high powered CPUs, and they don't come with coolers or anything like that. So he's bought me a really high powered CPU from Intel and like the cheapest motherboard he can get and like some cheap RAM. And there's no extra cooler, and he needs, like, the CPU doesn't come with a cooler, so it actually requires you to buy an aftermarket cooler for any of the K series Intel CPUs. And so then I had to sort of give him the bad news again that he should have just bought the 11400 that I said, because like I wasn't just pulling that CPU like out of my butt. Like that was what I recommended, because I knew he was on a really tight budget, so I knew he wasn't going to spend much on the motherboard. So I knew that we had to go with a relatively tame CPU. I mean, i5 11400, don't get me wrong, is completely fine to pair with RTX 3060. It's faster single core than this i7 10700F. So it's actually a better gaming CPU than the previous gen's i7. So there's nothing wrong with 10400F. But yeah, unfortunately, if I put that high-powered CPU on that really budget motherboard, we're going to have a case just like old mate a couple of weeks ago who bought in a PC with an RTX 2080 Ti on a really cheap motherboard, and it was causing the motherboard to overheat and the PC to shut down. And that was just because we had a really high-powered device plugged into a really cheap motherboard, and that motherboard was never designed for that. Yeah.
Tyrone says, that sounds ideal. No budget in mind, mate. Go ham.
Yeah, okay. Nah, sweet as. Well, yeah, so unfortunately for old mate, we'll be fixing his computer on the weekend, because I said to him, like, look, you know, if I just wanted to take you, if I didn't give a shit and I just wanted to take your money or whatever, I'd just go and put these parts together, put it in the case, hand it back to you, and just be like, haha, suck shit if it fucks up on you, you know, I don't care, I didn't buy the parts. I could have that attitude if I wanted to, and, you know, technically there's nothing wrong with that. I didn't buy the parts or recommend the configuration or anything like that, so I could take that perspective, but I said to him, nah, man, look, I'm really not too happy with that motherboard and that CPU. Like, on that motherboard, there's no heat sinks on the MOSFET VRM co-processors. It's just chips on the board, open, exposed to the air. There's like very, very little power delivery there to the CPU. And when I see very, very little power delivery to the CPU, and what I mean by that is, a simple way to sort of count that is, just count the little water tower looking things and the little grey square looking things that are behind the water tower looking things. Count how many of them there are, and you'll get an idea of how good the power delivery is to your computer. So if you've got something that's like, probably 13 plus, then that's got good power delivery. Anything above that is pretty good. You can chuck whatever CPU in that you want. But if it's got less than that, then what it means is the CPU is gonna still demand the power that it needs. And so it's just gonna push more power through these circuits that weren't ever meant to have that much power running through them. And that's why things overheat, and that's why it shuts down. And it's the same when you plug a high-powered graphics card into a cheap motherboard, same sort of stuff happens. So yeah, long story short, the poor guy's like spent a whole heap of money, and yeah, it's just been a bit of a nightmare for him. And I try to help people as much as I can with things like that, but yeah, it's still shit. Like, I mean, I'm sort of looking at him going, oh man, I don't even want to send this message to this guy. We had the first problem, and now he's like, it brings me everything. It's like meant to be all sweet, and then I look at him like, hang on a second.
Oh man, this.
And yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem when you don't know much and you're researching all the parts yourself. You get online, and then you're subject to whoever's opinion. And like I can read through reviews and stuff like that, and I can sort of look at it a bit objectively and go, oh, well, I know that this guy here who's reviewing it, he's like a real high-end enthusiast, so he's not really impressed with anything budget. So anything that's budget, this guy's going to say is, oh, it's horrible, stay away from it. But then if you go and talk to someone who like specializes in budget parts, and you go talk to them about the price performance and stuff, you'll find a very different perspective on the same chip from two different sources. And if you don't know how to sort of make sense of those two different reviews from those two different sources, it's very easy to make a mistake. Because like, yeah, okay, the i5 11400, is it the best CPU to pair with like an RTX 3090? No, absolutely not. There's better options for that. But is it a bad CPU to pair with something cheap? Is it a bad way to get $220 worth of CPU performance? No, it's pretty good value for money. If you work out, so i5 11400F, it gets like 580 or so CPU Z scores. And if we look at that, it's 229 for 580 single core score. Now we could go and spend like 4 times as much as that and get like an AMD, like a 5950X 16 core 32 thread CPU, the flagship AMD CPU right now, and we would get like 650. So 580 to 650. We're barely talking a 10% performance improvement, and you're going to spend 4 times as much on the CPU to get there. So with that perspective in mind, you might say that the 11400F is fucking awesome, good bang for your buck if you don't need a really high-end CPU. And that is the reality. So this poor guy read that the 11400F was shit. I'm not going to look into why he didn't take my advice and like just get what I say, but I guess you want to confirm that the person's not bullshitting you. But I don't bullshit people about this sort of stuff. I'm pretty straight up about things. So yeah, like that. Now this has just led to another situation where he's got to go and spend more money and fuck around with it further. But yeah, oh well, it's going to be sorted, and on Sunday night, we'll actually have it going for him. So, oh man, what's up? Some video you're watching.
No, Christian Hall.
I don't want to know. I saw the end bit of it, and I don't think I want to see the rest of that.
Oh, he's selling a hoodie.
Alright, you've got a Windows update to install there. I'm going to restart it and get Armory Crate installed. I'm just going to leave it there doing its thing. But that hard drive's not completely bottlenecked right now, so our computer will be more responsive. So we're installing our Nvidia update here. See, the thing is, like, I've got gigabit internet, so I should get, like, it should download a 600 megabyte file in, like, you know, like 10 seconds or so. It's not, doesn't usually take long from Nvidia because they had a good server and stuff like that. So, provided you're not hitting them on the day that they launched a new graphics card and everyone's trying to download drivers at the same time, it's normally pretty fast, but yeah, we've definitely been slowed down a bit here by the drive. Now it's up to near 100 again. We'll get that sorted. There's our graphics card driver update. And we are done. Excellent. 5.512.5, I think that was. Update and restart. Yeah, but that'll be good. You'll be able to control all of your lights by the addressable header. It's a shame you didn't get 5-volt strips in there. You can sort of do more with the lighting programs on 5-volt. It allows for more like different combinations, just the way that it's wired up. 5-volt RGB is like the revised standard, so it's the new one. So if you're looking at RGB, 5-volt, 12-volt RGB, yeah, the 12-volt's the older one, and the 5-volt's the new one. But yes. Everything takes just a little bit longer on hard drive, eh? I feel like I'm loading Windows 7 back in like 2009. I used to be impressed with like a 60-second boot time. Alrighty, if nothing else, we'll be all up to date here tonight. And tomorrow I definitely need to get a secondary long Ethernet cable, because I don't have Cat 6 in the wall or anything like that. It looks like there's like panels around. It's so weird. I'm sort of thinking, because there's these blank panels in the wall around, and I'm sort of thinking I want to get up in the roof and run some Cat 6 cables down, like through the wall, so I don't have cables running through the house, because it looks like I've got the capacity to do that. Yeah, it's really weird. Oh, come on, Windows Update. Okay. Things open eventually. Alrighty. So I'm assuming this is because of some Logitech device that you have. Alright, I won't worry about Aura Creator. I'm just going to install Armory Crate because that's the main thing I want. If that can just install for me, that will make my life complete, I think. Oh. So slow. And there we are, 100% on the hard drive. That's why it's slow. Alrighty, well, I think we'll probably leave it there for the night, because this is going to be a very tedious process from here while Armory Crate installs. I'm just going to let it go. And yeah, hopefully by the end of the night and when I go to bed, it'll actually be all installed and ready to go. So, alrighty. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all tomorrow in the next video.